This is 2006 number 2 from AP Macro. This is going to have some money market as well as loanable funds in it. So we'll start off by looking at question 2. This would be on the back. This would be one of your short questions. Okay, using a correctly labeled graph of the money market, show how an increase in the income level will affect the nominal interest rate in the short run. So we're going to draw up our money market with our vertical money supply, our money demand, our quantity of money, M for money, and then our vertical label is the nominal interest rate with a lowercase I to show where we are currently at. Okay, so whenever people have an increase in income, they're going to want to go spend that money. So that's going to increase their transaction demand. So it says show, that means show it on your graph, how to increase the income level. So that means our money demand is going to shift to the right. Now, where money demand and money supply cross, we get a new level of interest right here. So interest rates are increasing. So you can get 1 point for your graph, 1 point for a rightward shift now, and 1 point for showing the interest rate increasing. So we get 3 points out of that one right there. Now, for part B, this can be loanable funds. My particular class hasn't gone over it, but I'm going to do it anyways. So the loanable funds market is exactly what it says it is. We have the supply of loanable funds, that's the money we put in the bank. We have the demand for loanable funds, that's the people wanting to borrow out of the bank. That is done at the real interest rate. And we have a quantity of loanable funds that sits at that particular rate of interest. So, using the graph of loanable funds market, show how a decision by households to increase saving for retirement will affect the real market interest rate in the short run. So, that's going to increase the supply. If I'm putting my money in a savings account, the banks are going to want to loan that out, so that gives them some more loanable funds. And if there's only a certain amount of demand available for those, where we cross our new point is going to be a lower interest rate. So the quantity of loanable funds available, supply increases, and therefore that's going to drop the real interest rate. So that's part B right there. So now moving on to part C. Suppose that the nominal interest rate has been 6% with no expected inflation. If inflation is now expected to be 2%, determine the value of each of the following: the new nominal rate and the new real rate. So what we're going to do for that is set it up by thinking about the formula for the real interest rate. So the nominal interest rate itself, remember that's just the written or stated. The real interest rate is that interest rate minus demand or minus inflation. Okay, so what we have it set up now is we have a nominal interest rate of 6% equals 6%. Sorry about my writing, I am using a Sharpie. The inflation rate is now expected to be 2%. So our inflation expected to be 2%. So if we have our nominal plus our inflation, I add these together, and that's going to give me a nominal interest rate of 8%. So that will solve part I of our question, the new nominal interest rate. Simply add together inflation plus our old nominal, and that's going to, and the reason we say this is because inflation is a price just like everything else. So this price, this was the price tag of borrowing. Now we're going to add 2% to that, and if that price goes up at 6%, there's 2% inflation in the economy, then I'm going to have 2% more interest. So that's going to give me a nominal rate of 8%. So now what's going to happen to the new real interest rate? Well, we got to use our formula for the real interest rate. So R equals I minus pi. So let's plug everything in. R is going to equal our new nominal interest rate of 8% minus our 2% of inflation that was given to us in the problem. So the real interest rate is now going to equal 6%. Okay? And we are done. That's a short question.